This might get uncomfortable.
Over 60% of voters have said they are willing to vote for a candidate who is not named Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And I think third parties and independents need to seize on this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Amani Sawari, your favorite criminal justice reform policy expert. I really want to talk about the 2024 election post-Biden. We're in the perfect space to vote third party.
We have a chance to reset. Let's reset.
ABC News did a video covering third-party influence a few months ago before he bowed out of the race. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to react to a bit of this coverage.
People are not being represented. The people are not being represented. That's how I feel. The people are not being represented.
The people have to decide to take back the power in this country.
Kennedy, when he came onto the scene third party, a lot of people started to get excited about the potential of a third party presidency.
All we've seen is us against them.
The dissonance, the hypocrisy of it all.
As the 2024 general election approaches, it looks eerily familiar. A January poll found that 37% of voters would be somewhat or very likely to consider supporting a third-party candidate if Joe Biden and Donald Trump were the nominees.
37%. That's over a third of the American voting population. And that's just among this small population poll that they took.
Having two candidates who are both sort of underwater in terms of their favorability with the public, that I think does open the door to third-party candidates.
How could a third-party candidate influence the election?
Now, what ABC is about to get into is how third-party candidates are really viewed under this idea that if you vote third party, you're throwing out your vote. And I really want to combat that with this video. If you choose to vote third party, which I have since Obama's last run for election, it's not throwing out of your vote. It's really taking the legs out from under the two-party system. Now, people say, oh, so many people voted for Trump by voting third party and not voting for Hillary. That really undermines what is supposed to be a republic democracy. It stands on the idea that we have elected officials that represent our best interests. This idea that you're throwing out your vote is really a fear-based argument.
You know, in 2016, a lot of people have talked about Jill Stein, who was the Green Party. It's pretty hard to actually make the case that she decided that election.
The idea that voting for her is the reason why Hillary didn't win. Fear-based argument. They're saying right now, looking back at it, that was not the case.
I think there is perhaps a better argument or more discussion about the 2000 election where Ralph Nader was the Green Party nominee. And you had...
I couldn't vote back then, but I really like this overview.
An unbelievably close 537 vote margin in Florida.
The Democratic Party is going to have to calculate the prospect of losing more votes to the Green Party if they don't respect the progressive wing of their party in future elections.
So it's not impossible to imagine.
And that is still the case. But instead of being afraid of losing votes to the Green Party, now the Democratic Party is even more vulnerable to losing votes to several candidates that are running independent of the two-party system.
The most recent example of a third-party candidate actually winning like a very large percentage of the vote, all told, is Ross Perot.
Got two candidates that were funded and paid for by PAC money, foreign lobbyists, and special interests.
In 1992, you know, he won about 18.5%, 19% of the national popular vote. I do think that these conditions with two candidates who are not well liked running, that you do have a greater opportunity for there to be a higher third-party vote share this time around.
They are unfortunately restricting influencing the election as in the percentage of votes. And while that does demonstrate some sense of influence, there's another definition of influence that I think is much more powerful. Third-party ideals are hooking Americans that are getting more and more people talking about things like peace, ending war, universal health care, the quality of public school education. That the two-party system has looked at many of these topics as, oh, you know, it's water under the bridge. we're already in a place where we don't have universal health care. So we're not talking about that, period. We're already in a place where if you want better quality education for your children, then you need to pay for it and put them in a charter school or a public school. That's the decided narrative in the two-party system. But we've got other third-party candidates that are boiling up these ideas, recooking them and reserving them in a way that actually makes it feasible, makes it possible to redesign the structure of our society. And when those points are discussed in a way that make more voters pivot from the two-party system over to third-party candidates, then two-party system candidates start to talk about these things. Then they start to piggyback. They start to take these talking points.
In 2024, two third-party candidates have emerged. Cornel West and
these are the only two that were the most popular back then, but there are some more that I'm going to introduce to you all before the end of this video, later in this video.
Robert Kennedy Jr. have appealed to voters by taking positions dismissed by Republicans and Democrats.
I feel that the Democratic Party has really moved away from representing any values that I have. The final straw for me from Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, it was their support of Israel, giving billions of dollars in military aid. Cornel West talks all about peace.
We want an end to the siege. We want an end to the occupation. We want Palestinians to live a life of dignity.
Both candidates have had their chance. They've had their 4 years in the White House, and I haven't seen a difference that I would like to see. I'm very sure that Kennedy will provide great results for every American.
We need to pry loose from the hammerlock of the corrupt powers in Washington, D.C. and make this nation ours again.
On the one hand,
he got a little flim too. They're not criticizing him for his voice. I'm just kidding. I really like how they show clips from both Kennedy and West really illustrate the principles that they have, as well as supporters of both Kennedy and West.
An October poll found that 63% of Americans feel there's a need for a third political party. But in a separate February poll, no third-party candidate polled higher than 10%.
And I feel like a lot of people just aren't exposed to the third parties. So this is comparing two, and I would say these are probably the most popular of the third parties from like early spring. So let's look at the third party candidates.
In the sham that is democracy in the United States. My name is Claudia de la Cruz, and I am a working class, second generation immigrant, mother, organizer, educator, and a proud socialist of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is a party that has existed for the last 20 years, that has been in the front lines of struggle across everything from defending our rights to housing, our rights to healthcare, against police brutality, against imperialist wars, to end the dictatorship of the billionaires, which is ultimately the root of our problem.
Thank you, Claudia. Jill.
Much, and it's great to see you, Christina, again. We've been doing this for 12 years now that I've been participating in your process. My background is as a medical doctor, where I worked for decades in the clinic, and
Jill Stein's with the Green Party.
Became very frustrated with how our health really cannot be addressed simply after the fact in the clinic. Tried working upstream on social drivers of illness, and discovered that reform is essentially stymied by the powers that be. So I moved from clinical medicine to political medicine to address the mother of all illnesses, our rigged political system. We are in this incredible historic moment right now where the usual order of things, that of empire and oligarchy, is essentially teetering at the brink. The need for deep change has never been so urgent, but the possibility of that change has never loomed so large. For justice in the workplace, to fight for abolishing student debt, for defending Mother Earth, and to rescue our very embattled civil liberties. Solutions are not permissible in the current political environment, so breaking up our zombie duopoly, our zombie political system, is essential, and I look forward to discussing some of the ways to do that tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jasmine Sherman, and I want to get the basics out of the way. I'm fat, I'm Black, and I'm a socialist running for president of the United States. I'm not independently wealthy. I'm not invested in the stock market. I'm not living off of a trust fund set up by my rich parents. I'm not looking for a handout, and I'm not up here to make my friends wealthy or write a book. We understand that this election is a black swan event like never before. With the Interstate Voter Compact, a third-party candidate can win. We do not have to pretend that we are trying to move parties to the left or to the right or talk about a rigged system. If you want guaranteed housing, universal health care, free education, and universal basic income, then you will vote for Jasmine Sherman. We have a chance to reset. Let's reset. You don't need to hear politicians who are wealthy and are going to go home to their nice houses and their comfortable living tell you about the problems that you experience. You know there's no food in your fridge. You know there's no money in your bank account. What you don't know is who is going to do that and resolve your issues faster. Right now, our country is at the precipice and we need to push it forward. If you actually want to do something, I would recommend that you listen to the candidates that have a plan to put money in your pocket tomorrow.
My name is Chase Oliver. I want to be the Libertarian candidate for President of the United States because I know people are getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. Over 60% of voters have said they are willing to vote for a candidate who is not named Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And I think third parties and independents need to seize on this opportunity to bring new voters out, new solutions to the table.
Imagine if 60% of the vote was spread among these folks. That would be incredible.
And as a libertarian, my solutions are pretty much rooted in the idea of freedom. If you are living your life in peace and you're not committing force, fraud, coercion, theft, or violence, your life is your life, your body is your body, your business is your business, and your property is your property, not the property or business of an overly abusive and intrusive government that we've seen, frankly, my entire adult life. Now, I'm 39 years old. I'm half Donald Trump's age. The entire real estate market fell out from underneath us as big banks got bailed out and the regular guy got screwed over. And it's my generation right now that is trying to raise families all over the country with record runaway inflation that is caused by the overly abusive and intrusive and massive federal government that continues to stifle growth. Yet I'm anti-war to the core, and that means I oppose the warfare state. We need to have our military removed from every continent and every place that is the United States of America, because the only purpose of a military is to protect us from invasion. I'm also somebody who believes in the rights of free movement of immigrants. We have an immigration crisis at our southern border, but it's not the immigrants that cause that crisis. It's the government who refuses to allow immigrants to come here and work and start their American dream just like the rest of us. And I've also been a criminal justice reform advocate. People should be on a level playing field with law enforcement and the government.
Our criminal justice system, also a total joke. We've had a 50-year war on drugs that is a complete failure. We have to stop the war on drugs, stop criminalizing people for victimless crimes, and treat people with dignity and respect and get the help that they need. What you put in your body is your choice, and the government should have no say in that whatsoever, because everybody's feeling the pressure, whether it's your education system, whether it's your healthcare system, like I talked about. These are all things that are suffering Americans. And I just want to make Americans feel better.
In the description box, I am going to include all of the third-party candidates that were at the debate, as well as Kennedy and Cornel West websites, because it's really important to me that more people know that there are third-party candidates. And I really would love to see this election have the highest third-party voter turnout. Then the higher powers that be will see they are really fed up. We can start to see more people running third-party for senator and representative positions. Then we can start to see changes in the way that this two-party system has just gotten comfortable with oppressing and financially exploiting the masses. I don't support Kamala. I definitely don't support Trump. I actually have an iota more of support for Trump's political background than Kamala's and Biden's. And that might be because he doesn't have much of one. He did do more criminal justice reforms on a federal level than Kamala ever did on a state level, and then Biden undid on a federal level. Share this video with some folks who don't know about the third-party candidates. Ask them which one they prefer over Biden and Kamala. Shifting imbalances might get uncomfortable. I don't know what to do.